welcome to Healthy Fit and Pain Free Pittsburgh. I'm your host, Ryan Wade, joined as always by my co-host, Dr. Tyler Bordick.
Hello, everybody.
And we are here today. We wanted to do a quick and efficient episode on consistency and the compound interest that consistency can bring to you having success along your health, your weight loss, your strength, your pain, get out of pain journey, right? And it's a simple concept. It's a very simple concept that if we just stay consistent, good things will happen. We know it's much easier said than done. And so today we wanted to simply walk through what happens in our lives, in our minds, in our actions that causes us to kind of fall off, be a little bit inconsistent. And we will then recap the episode with some very simple steps that will help you stay consistent so that you can reach those goals. Doc, you want to set the scene for us?
Sure. So, all right. I don't know if you've ever been there before, but if you have, let's picture this. So, you wake up that one morning, you're getting out of bed, you're brushing your teeth, hopefully, and you look in the mirror and maybe there's a few extra ridges there, a little extra pouch that you don't want to be there. So you make your way over to the scale very slowly, very not in the best mood, and then you step on that scale and realize that you have gained the COVID-40. Okay, you even put on your favorite shirt, and it fits snugger in some areas compared to others.
Dun, dun, dun.
So what do you decide to do? So that is whenever you look in the mirror, you slap yourself in the face, and you're like, it is time to make a change. So you run downstairs, you open up your pantry, and you throw out all the gunk. Okay, you go to your local gym, you sign up for membership right then and there, and you're ready to go. You buy, your favorite pair of expensive shoes, you buy a full pair of Lululemon gear, and you're ready to rock and roll. Go to the gym the first day, and you're just killing it. You go that entire week. You decide, I'm going to work out all 7 days a week. I'm going to eat no carbs. I'm going to have only water. I'm not going to go out to eat. Right on task. So a month goes by, you're still killing it, you've lost about 10 pounds, you're feeling pretty good, but you have a friend that asks you to go out to eat, maybe get a few drinks, so you decide to join them. And then, that night you get another text about another dinner date the next day, so you decide to go on that. So you're kind of stewing away from the gym, but you're like, no, I said this time is going to be the time. So you get strict again, you go back to the gym, you decide, I'm going to do a couple more times of training because I'm going to burn off those extra calories. Soon you got some aches and pains. You're not really enjoying it anymore. Maybe feeling a little bit burned out. What do you say, Ryan?
Yeah,
burned out.
A little burned out, a little stressed out, a little fatigued.
And then you step on the scale and you lost like 2 pounds. Okay, you're not really looking at it in the best sights. You're kind of feeling a little bit, getting back into a little bit of a depression. You're not having the results that you thought you were going to. You start looking at your friends on, Facebook, Instagram, and start looking at social media, realize you haven't achieved your goals, and you're like, screw it. So you kind of fall back, you're not going to the gym as much anymore, your diet's kind of falling off every other day, and before you know it, 3 months later, you roll out of bed, you look back in the mirror, and surely enough, all of those rolls, maybe plus 1 or 2 more, has appeared. And we're back in the same cycle again. Ryan, have you ever heard this before? You ever heard this story from anybody?
I've never heard of anybody being on a yo-yo. Said facetiously, of course. No, just about everybody I've ever met that has come into Inner Strength has been this person. And the fact of the matter is, okay, first of all, I don't want to be a dead horse. The first 2 episodes of this podcast are about avoiding falling off the wagon and how to treat yourself with grace and how to look at yourself as an editing process. So, of course, that's step number 1. But really, beyond that, building consistency starts with avoiding that feeling that has caused you to fall off every other time, right? I would fathom, or I would probably look to see how many times has somebody gone through this. I know me personally, many times, right? Many times, and no different than anybody else. But we know that this is going to happen, right? We know that life happens. pounds. Okay, we're always a birthday, a holiday, and a vacation away from gaining 20 pounds.
Yep.
Is that fair?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Very fair.
Okay, and so everybody is always a birthday, a holiday, and a vacation away from gaining 20 pounds. So don't think that you're a special snowflake, right?
And understanding there's a lot of birthdays and a lot of holidays in one year.
Exactly. And so we have to be aware whenever we go into this process of editing ourselves that this is going to happen. And so addressing how to overcome these things, again, with grace and with acceptance of ourselves, right? And with a realistic expectation of what we want to happen, right? If we have stricter goals, that means stricter guidelines, right? If we have looser goals, we can have looser guidelines and we can make different adjustments. The overarching theme here is that what happened to the person in the example that Doug gave is that they went from a place of a comfort zone, doing the things that they enjoyed doing, till they found something that they were unhappy with about the way that they look, the way they feel, the way they think about themselves, whatever it is. And so whenever we first and foremost start with the identity of that we are in the editing process and we're a work in progress, we're going to continue to push that envelope, but we won't give up, right? And we can be a healthy person, then we can start to address what's going to happen next. And that becomes this process of moving from this comfort zone towards working towards your goals, all right? Now, the issue that most people have is that they go about their journey, and whenever they set these goals, they have these grandiose expectations, right, of what they are capable of doing, but have yet to prove that to themselves at any point or time, right? So whenever you are going to say, okay, I need to lose 20, 25 pounds, the first thing that we want to look at is if you've only not been working out at all, or maybe been going for a 20-minute walk once a week, the answer to losing weight is not to go to the gym 7 times that week, right? The answer to that is we know what works in terms of getting results from an exercise perspective. It's a mix of resistance training, weight training, and conditioning, or cardio conditioning, be it walking, running, biking, whatever it is, right? A culmination of those two where we're elevating our heart rate, where we are stressing our muscles, and where we are allowing ourselves appropriate recovery time is what's going to help us from an exercise perspective. You can look at the same thing with, say, your diet. You don't need to eat clean, whatever that means, clean or keto or whatever plan you're following, right? It doesn't have to be a 7-day-a-week, 24 hours a day kind of thing, right? It's a matter of where am I today? Where do I want to be, and what is a realistic amount of time, right? So 25 pounds, we say a half pound to a pound a week is very sustainable, right? And even if you want to stretch it from 1 to 2, it becomes a little less sustainable, but it's still something that is sustainable, right? And so I'm going to say a minimum of 20 weeks for 25 pounds, right? A minimum, and that's a half a year. Right? And so when I look at it from that perspective, I don't need to go to the gym 7 days a week. I don't need to not eat a carb all 7 days of the week, right? What I need to do to get started is take that next step forward. And so what that is if I've been doing just that 1 20-minute walk, I'm going to go to the gym for 40 minutes to lift, because you can't get much lifting done in 20 minutes, right? It just takes a little bit longer, and you allow yourself to rest. And then as you continue to push forward, maybe you reduce that rest, right? Have some grace with yourself. And so what I'm trying to show is you go from this comfort zone to this place of pushing too far, right? Or what I call overfunctioning, okay? And so overfunctioning is going from, again, doing nothing or doing minimal for your health to going to the gym 5 to 7 days a week, to not eating a carb, to, making sure, trying to make meditation a 20-minute practice every single day. All these things we think we need to add, when in actuality we need very little of that.
Now, Ryan, that sounds great, but we're going to Hilton Head in a month, and Jessica's mom's going to be there, and she has like an 8-pack and looking great in the
White
bikini.
Claws?
Of White Claws, too. So what exactly do you recommend that people do then? Everyone has these big, audacious goals that they want to achieve, but what's some realistic expectations that they can have?
Yeah, if you're going to Hilton Head in a month, okay, first of all, you have a month to start progress, okay? And what I like to say with, birthdays, holidays, vacations is just maintain, right? Just maintain. So let's take this in a 2-month kind of span. I'm at that point where, again, I'm this person who wants to lose 20 pounds and I've done nothing but maybe walk for 20 minutes once a week. Okay, I'm going to add in a 40-minute session of lifting weights at the gym, and then maybe another 20-minute walk that week. Okay, I think that's a good place to work up to in a month, right? 3 workouts a week is a pretty good starting place if you want to add on maybe in time, right? Once you've shown that you can do 2 times a week consistently, 3 times a week consistently, maybe you want to add on more of that more weight training or something along those lines. It's reconfiguring. Speak with your local fitness professional. But in terms of vacation, what can we do really well on vacation, right? What can we do? We can assure that we can get an appropriate amount of sleep. Okay, that can help regulate our hormone balance so that we don't get more stress hormone and ultimately cause for a little bit of weight gain. Okay. We can absolutely walk, right? We are going to tend to be more active on vacation, right? So you can track your steps and consider that some of your walking. Go for a walk on the beach. Try to see what is the equivalent here. Okay, and then in terms of your eating, yes, everybody wants to enjoy their vacation, and that's fine. All you got to do is look at, okay, what are the bare minimum requirements that I can do? Okay, you're going to be drinking alcohol if you're somebody who does that kind of thing, right? Okay, right? And we're not pushing away from that. What I want to say is continue to get the appropriate amount of water in. Not don't count your drinks as water, right? Continue to get the right amount of water in. Make sure you hit your protein recommendation for the day, okay? Because we know on vacation what's prevalent. Chips and sandwiches and, beer, right? Carbs and carbs and carbs and carbs and carbs and fats and fats and fats. Appetizers, right? Conch fritters, all the good stuff, right? Right, I love it. But getting that protein intake, right? Just a decacard-sized portion of a lean protein, a chicken, a turkey, a lean ground beef, fish.
Depending on where you're going.
Yeah, exactly. Fresh fish whenever you're on vacation. Perfect, right? Getting that about 3 times a day, right? And these are baseline minimum things that are going to help us stay consistent, right? But also stay the course. And you can call that success on vacation. And guess what? How much effort did that take? Not much.
Something else too to consider, like let's say you're going out to eat. Now, a lot of people, many have heard of the whole if you're going to get a portion, ask them to box up the second half.
Sure.
Now, the problem with that is people automatically in their mind start thinking that they are limiting themselves by doing that. Like I am restricting myself because I'm on a diet. But there's also little tricks you can do with yourself. So for instance, if you're going to do that, say, well, I'm having them box up 1/2 so that I can enjoy this meal again later on in the week. That way you're not going out and binging on every single meal that you have. And who knows, maybe you'll forget about that meal and then you'll have to throw it out. Unfortunate, but it may happen.
Sure. And so, this is the appropriate, realistic way that we can look at staying consistent and then also overcoming a hurdle that is absolutely going to happen, a birthday, a holiday, a vacation. Now, if we kind of backtrack a little bit and we go back to thinking about this person who added all those workout sessions, all those perfectly balanced meals, all the sleep, all the meditate, all that stuff, right? We go back to that person. Are they going to see results? Absolutely.
Of
course. Anyone can starve themselves and work out 6 times a week and lose weight,
Yep.
right? Everyone is capable of doing that, okay? Now, where this falls into, where we kind of fall back into bad patterns, is that we have just put all this new stuff in our lives, but we didn't take anything away, right?
Yep.
And so all we've done is cram a bunch of shit into one area, okay? And we don't have room to think clearly. We don't have room to move. We don't have the capacity.
Yeah.
All right, so we've overfunctioned ourselves into burnout, stress, fatigue zone, okay? And now what's the natural response to burnout, stress, out, fatigue? Get comfortable.
Yes.
Right? So we fall back into the comfort zone. And actually, if I had a little drawing, you'd see a little circle called an underfunctioning zone, right? Because before we get back to the comfort zone, it's always, I've been so good and I fell off the wagon. I feel bad for myself. I'm going to relax for the week. I'm going to have a couple bottles of wine, a pizza, and whatever else makes me feel good, right? And then I'll get back to it on Monday.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Monday usually becomes 2 Mondays and 3 Mondays, as we know. Usually these periods of overfunctioning and underfunctioning, which is basically just an upregulation or downregulation in your nervous system, right? They normally last about 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, and then we kind of start to feel the opposite, and we can go up and down. But whenever we underfunction, that's whenever we go back to putting on the weight, right? So you've done a crash diet, you've lost the 20 pounds, right? The crash diet makes you feel burnout, stressed out, fatigued. You fall back into the comfort zone, treat yourself for a little bit. Now we put back on 25. So we're net plus 5, right? And this is the pattern, the yo-yo pattern of weight loss, weight gain. And so what we need to do is be realistic and actually keep a log of the things that we are doing, the actions we are taking to move forward in our fitness, our nutrition, and our wellness or our recovery. And so basically what I propose is creating what we call an optimal functioning plan. Okay, and so what this is it's a view of your week in all the areas that are going to make up a goal, right? So if I had a weight loss goal of 20 pounds, right? And I would set an expectation of at least that amount of time in weeks, okay? So that I can take it off slowly, steadily, and get into the habit of being this person who loses a pound a week, right? I would not start with that, what do I do currently in my exercise? I walk 20 minutes a week, right? On Sunday or whatever. Again, I wouldn't go to the 7 times a week going to the gym, right? I would add, I want to balance my cardio conditioning, my walking with some resistance training. Add in 20 to 40 minutes of resistance training, preferably 60, but if, whatever is enough for you, right? I'm not going to say that you have to do 60. That's ridiculous. You can see progress with any of it. As long as you're realistic in what's going to happen afterwards. Less, you're just going to see less, and more, you're going to see more. And the same thing goes for your nutrition, right? If you're only eating, you're only kind of, tracking the carb intake that you have for 1 day out of 7 days, right? Just do it for another day. Don't do it for the rest of the week, right? And just build up consistently as you go, because this is going to keep you consistent, right? Every day, so basically I'm going to write this out. I'm going to say, okay, fitness, what's going to help me get to my 20 or 25 pounds? Okay, I'm going to write weights, 1 time. I'm going to put 1 time, I'm going to write 40 minutes. I'm going to say walk 1 time, 20 minutes. I'm going to write out walk 1 time, 20 minutes. And whenever I take that walk every day, I'm going to come back to this list. I'm going to cross out whenever I did it. So if it was I walked 20 minutes that day, I'm going to come back to my list before I go to sleep that night. I'm going to cross out the walk 20 minutes 1 time a week, right? If I'm going to track my carbs on a certain day, for an example, right? I'm going to go back every night before I go back to bed, and I'm going to cross out the times that I ate what I did. And I actually prefer the adjustment of adding things to your diet instead of restricting things away, right? So instead of saying I'm going to take out carbs, say I'm going to add in protein, or I'm going to add in fiber, like fruits and vegetables, right? Things that fill you up for the least amount of calories, all right? So maybe I have 4 to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables, and I'm only doing that maybe 1 day a week. I think this is a better example. Now I can do it 2 days a week, right? And now whenever I do it 2 days a week, I'm going to give myself grace to, if it happens again, great. It means I'm creating a great sticking habit, right? But if I do not, that's okay too, because I hit my goal for the week. Next week, I'm going to up it to 3. The key is that if I do it 2 times, I'm not increasing it to 5, right? I'm not increasing it to 7, I'm increasing it to 3. And so I'm looking at it from a day perspective and from a week perspective. And so I'm going back and I'm checking the things that I did, crossing them off my list, and whenever my week is complete, it's complete. Awesome. Congratulate yourself, give yourself a pat on the back, do whatever it is that you want to do to, give yourself that reward for hitting your actionable goals, and then reset them for a reasonable expectation the next week to increase. And when you don't hit your increased goal that week, that's your capacity, right? And so you stick with that goal there, or a reduced version of that goal, until you have increased your capacity to be able to take it forward. What's it look like from a pain rehabilitation therapeutic exercise perspective?
So I'm glad you said that. So you mentioned capacity, which capacity is a huge thing that I constantly address with people. And, what Ryan was talking about doesn't just have to be with diet and exercise. It can be with even training, like training or performance. So I mean, if you're someone who's trying to lose weight, but even if you're someone who's a runner, if you're a power lifter, if you're a bodybuilder, if you're a CrossFitter, or any of these, like if you just do another sport, for instance, many times what happens is people, they want to improve their performance. They want to get stronger. They want to get faster. They want to, improve their body image. And so they think, well, more is definitely better. Well, you have a certain capacity that you start out with. So let's say, let's go from a scale of 1 to 10, and you start out with a capacity of, let's say, a 4. Well, if you jump up to a 6, and then you jump up to an 8 the next week, like you're trying to reach those, you're going to lose every time. The wheels are going to fall off the bus, and you're going to get injured. And that's a lot of times, what comes into my office is someone who, they started running, they added a mile a week, or there's someone who's lifting and they added sets per week, or it could just be the athlete or the mom or even the grandma who wanted to lose weight, wanted to look better, and so they kept reducing their calories but then increasing their workload. And their capacity they couldn't handle it.
Yep.
Because what you got to realize too is whenever you're dieting or whenever you're restricting some area of your life, you now lose some capacity. Like I've learned this as a as a power lifter, for instance, is once I started peaking, if I ever had to cut too much weight before my weigh-in, injuries started creeping up because I could not handle the workload that I did before.
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
Correct.
A calorie is a unit of energy. You take one away, you got to add one back.
Correct. And that typically comes from what you stored. So, and that's a lot of times too, we see, with some of the ladies that we have here is they'll show up and they're like, I've tried this, but then I got this chronic pain now that developed and I can't fight through it. And really what it comes down to is just that proper guidance. It's somebody, and it's not even, it is guidance, but it's just somebody else being the sane one. Because we are all like insane in our mind. We'll sit there and we will just create this narrative in our minds of what needs to happen, and it's an all or nothing. I did a post this week, shameless plug. Did a post this week. There's a strength conditioning coach by the name of Scott Livingston. He talks about this of the red, yellow, green method. And what tends to happen is people they want to hit green. And, they hit green for so long, then eventually, they start noticing some things happening. So what do? Do they slow down to yellow? No. They hit green even harder. They keep trying to shift gears. Eventually hits yellow, and eventually they go into the red, but they're still trying to do it, and that's where big injuries happen. With a coach, like what we are with a coach is like we're sitting there and we're talking you off that ledge. We're making you realize that this is a very unreasonable decision for your capacity, and this is where we need to take a few steps back, reassess, and move forward from there.
Yeah, a coach is somebody who challenges your thought process.
Correct.
It's not somebody who forces you to do things their way. It's somebody who challenges you to find the best way for you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so that's really what this exercise of this overfunctioning and underfunctioning tracking, which, by the way, we have an additional video that walks through this, and we have some resources that you can use to actually track your overfunctioning, underfunctioning. But that's what the tool is utilized for. It's for as a coach, I have used this in the past to get my clients to analyze what works best for them, and to make it very simple. As I did 3 times, next week I'm going to do 4 times, and if I can't do 4 times, I'm going to go back to doing it 3 times,
mm-hmm.
right? Because the worst place for your thoughts to be on your fitness success journey is in your head.
Yep.
Right? The absolute worst place for your thoughts to be is in your head, because your head will form them however you want to see them.
Correct.
Right? Whatever you're looking for, you will find. Doesn't mean it's the right one. Right? And so this simple method of tracking is really going to help you set on your path to consistency, being realistic in your progress, and in compounding your results once you have been able to maintain that consistency. And again, it's all set into motion and really solidified whenever you have a coach, a professional, somebody who's there as a shoulder to lean on, to consult with, and who challenges your thought processes, right? Whether that's something that that you thought that it would be great for you or not. I think that we can all learn to grow a little bit and get out of our own way when it comes to something that, we aren't the professional in. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and